Great. I think it works. Cool. So, hello everyone. I hope you all doing great. I think today I'm super excited to host. Is it anyone speaking? Okay. I'm very excited for this very first young professional program with the newly appointed Asia VP General Manager, Ricardo. Hello, Ricardo.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here with all of you.
It's great to have you here, Ricardo. So for those who are watching, we will split this interview into 4 sections. So we are going to start with the icebreaker section with a pre-record fun video. And then we will move to a career focus section where we will discuss the career journey with Ricardo. And then we will move to a more young professional focused topic where we more focus on the young professional here in Asia. And then we will wrap up the interview with 1 or 2 questions from the chat box with a little quiz, a very surprise gift as well. So pay attention with the quiz, and also remember to just write any question you have along this. So later on, when we finish, we're going to pick 1 or 2 questions at the end. So before we kick off the interview, let's do a very quick roundtable to introduce ourselves to you. So I will start first. For those who don't know me very well on this call, my name is Dreamy. I was born in Wuhan. Yes, the very famous city now everyone knows about it. I do wish I can get my hometown in a better way, but however, I moved to Hong Kong when I was 15 years old. 9 years ago, I started my first full-time job with Brown-Forman as Jack Daniel brand ambassador in Hong Kong airport. So in between, I have changed my role a little bit. And recently, I moved to Singapore as an area manager covering APAC strategic account travel retail. So all my time with Brown-Forman has been with travel retail. And I have been a committee member of Asia D&I for about 2 years, and recently co-leading the Asia Young Professional chapter with Caroline and Ivan from Singapore office. So personally, I gain energy by spending time with people. I love yoga, I love dancing, and I'm a legendary eater. So when I say legendary, I guess people who know me, they know what I mean. So over to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Dreamy. So hi, everyone. My name is Anthony, and I am the HR for Greater China and also a co-lead for the Asia chapter for China. Just to clarify it a bit, the self-introduction will only be Dreamy, myself, and Ricardo. So relax, not everyone is going to need to do it on the call. So I was born in Hong Kong, and I've studied abroad in the UK since I was 11. And I first joined Brown-Forman as HR for Greater China early 2019. And now I have an expanded role as part of the master data management team for APAC and IMEA. So I only recently joined the Asia YP chapter, like I said, as the China lead, but I'm already really excited for the things that YP can make happen. Like today, where I can help the Asia YP members by learning more from our senior leaders. And personally, I'm an avid video gamer. For those of you who know, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally out. But I also love the outdoors, such as skiing, which is actually what I'm going to be doing in a few weeks' time. So enough about me, as I'm sure we all really came to hear from our guest, Ricardo. Ricardo, would you please share with us a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm very happy to. Well, first of all, I feel a bit embarrassed when we mentioned to myself as a senior leader. Just a few years back, I was starting my career back in Portugal as a brand manager, and suddenly, here I am. Things happen fast, and I really definitely not in spirit and not in mindset. I don't feel like a senior leader or like a kind of an older person. I would like to think myself about myself as a young professional still, if I can. I am Portuguese, as many of you know already. I've been in Asia now for a year and a half. Spent the first year in Tokyo, Japan, and now since September I'm here in Singapore with my family. I guess you're gonna know a lot more about me in the video that Trim is about to show. So I'll probably excuse myself from embarrassment and just let the video play.
Thank you, Ricardo. I guess people here are very keen to know more about you, and we're prepared for that. So let's enjoy this fast and curious video with Ricardo. I'm sure even though you think you know Ricardo pretty well, you're gonna discover something new from this video. So let's pay attention, because at the end of the section, we're going to have a little quiz. The content will be related to this video, and we will have a very surprise gift for you. Are you ready? So I'm sharing my screen, so pay attention.
Pizza with salad on top? Rolling Stones. Cooking dinner. Much more fun, entertaining, and I don't put on weight. Definitely Apple. I never get along with anything else. Both, more of a drinker. Both. Facebook for family, Instagram for life. Our choice. Both. TED Talks to learn, Netflix to entertain. Listener. Dog. I don't like cats. English. I'm learning it, but I like it. A bit of both. Old school. Oh, Marvel movies. Much nicer. Early bird, definitely. Superman. Fish, by all means, fish. Plan. Much better planning than being spontaneous. Amazon. For now. Beef. Both. I like chili crab on certain occasions and chicken rice on a daily basis. Zero waste, definitely. We need calories to live. Definitely summer. That's why I like Singapore. Definitely the ocean. I was born by the sea, raised by the sea, and living by the sea. Both, but my heart is cycling. Difficult one. I'm still learning about Chinese New Year. I was born and grew up with a very Catholic family, so Christmas is my heart, but I'm trying to learn and get to like Chinese New Year. Vodka. Old-fashioned, on Woodford, always. I'm an introvert, but I like to be around extroverts. It gives me energy. What's easy, Cupido? English Premier League. Sorry. Not a big fan of football, but La Liga is closer home. Hey, Jim. Mac. Always Mac. Google Slides. Finally, Google Slides. Tricky question. I think SNS. Cannot have SNS if you don't have 9-liter cases. So SNS. On the job. You learn a lot more by doing things. Both. Mental availability and physical availability. Kentucky Derby was so much fun. I think both are important. Potential drives future, and experience makes us more mature and more balanced. Future. Learning from the past, but focus on the future. That's it? Oh man, we need more.
Thank you, Dreamy, and thank you, Ricardo, for shooting the video. I hope you had as much fun shooting the video as us watching it, because I could see a lot of smiling faces.
Yeah, well, it was definitely
really
fun. I recommend everyone to do such kind of videos.
Yeah. I particularly like the one about TED Talks on Netflix. It's interesting to see your preference over something that we've definitely gotten very used to over the past year. And what about Dreamy?
Yeah, I mean, first, I really want to give the credit to my buddy, Caroline, because she's the one really helping to edit the whole video, make it happen. And I remember, when I shooting this video with Ricardo and Ivan, I really laugh a lot. It was a great fun, and learning from the past, focus on the future is definitely something that I feel inspired. I'm glad that Ricardo, you are enjoying the local food here in Singapore as well as the weather here. So I know that you moving from Japan to Singapore during the middle of pandemic. It must be very, very challenging. So I wonder, how are you and your family adapting to this new country, and how do you find it in terms of setting your teams here?
Thank you, Dream. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Definitely, it has not been easy, the move, particularly because for us as a family, this was the second move in a period of 12 months. We had just moved summer last year from Poland to Tokyo after being 9 years settled in Poland. So it was a very long time. We were very established, very rooted in Warsaw. And we moved to Tokyo, and then just 12 months later, we were asked to move again to Singapore in the middle of a pandemic. So I would say the experience of moving was not the easiest one. Was very stressful, was very brief. We had very little time to shut down things in Tokyo and open our life here in Singapore. So the overall experience of something I don't probably recommend to anyone to do. If you have to move, maybe wait until things calm down a little bit. But I think that once we arrived here and we got out of the quarantine, things got a little bit better. Singapore is an amazing place to live. It's very easy from a cultural perspective. Everything is in English. I don't need to go to the supermarket and spend hours trying to find the food I like because everything is in English. So it's a lot easier to do shopping and to get things going. And so now we have our permanent housing, and it's been a lot easier, I think, also to dedicate my time to work since, let's say, mid-October, when it kind of really, really settled down.
It's good to hear you're enjoying and settling into Singapore, Ricardo. But it really does make it a lot more difficult when everything is so locked down. I remember it was beginning of this year that when I first took on the renewal as part of master data management and being a new people leader. And it was super difficult because you couldn't see face to face. So I was wondering, regarding the career journey perspective, what's your personal definition of leadership? Is there any most important skill, do you think?
Yeah, I think that there are definitely, for me, there are most important skills. I think there are many different definitions of leadership, and certainly many different leadership styles, and we see a variety of those across cultures, across countries, across companies. For me personally, what I've learned over the last few years, really people management, and trying to bring the best out of the team, trying to bring the best to the table. I think this is the most important skill that one needs. Inspiring them to see the future, inspiring them to have a common vision and a common goal to achieve long term, and then try to orchestrate the team and orchestrate the team members so that each of them brings the best to the table and kind of they work towards that common goal. So really, this I think this managing the individuals and make them function as a team. I think this is one of the most important skills as a leader. Obviously, you need to have the luggage of know-how on the job you're expected to do, but I think that comes, with years of experience. But definitely, I would put a lot of emphasis on learning how to work with different types of individuals, different personalities, different styles, and how to bring that together to cook kind of a high-performing team.
So, just to follow up on that a little bit, has that approach changed in any way now that we're sort of living in this new normal?
I don't think the principles of that, I don't think have changed. I think I still adhere, to the same principles of leadership. I think the way we do things is definitely different and probably a little bit more difficult. So for myself, pulling together a new region, which was fractured in almost 3 different regions, pulling together a new team of individuals that most of them haven't met each other like ever. I have never met Bernie face to face or Melissa face to face, our finance director, and so I've met Andy in the past and Finbar also. And now I'm happy to be here with Finbar and Nail in Singapore. But definitely these things are a lot more difficult. If you're able to meet together and spend time together, I think the bond and the connectivity and the personal relationships will develop at a much faster pace. I think we've learned a lot in these last few months. It's possible to build teams and it's possible to do things virtually. It requires certainly a lot more effort and a lot more attention, more dedication, I would say. So you need to put yourself, when you have these meetings, you need to post yourself 100% into it. Don't get distracted with mobile phone. Don't get distracted with anything else around you, and really focus on discussions you're having with the team on the screen, which it's challenging, but it's possible.
It's quite interesting and somewhat inspiring to be, continuing your leadership definition and also really figuring out what's important being a leader under different circumstances, even as drastic as being in the pandemic. So I was wondering also, throughout your career, what would you say was the sort of most challenging situation that you faced so far? And how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I've had many across my career. I think very moments where I kind of call it seen the light and try to move on. But I would call one out, which I think for me it's really the highlight. It was actually already in Brown Forman. So I've spent now 10 years in Brown Forman. For the first 2 years, I was the brand director for vodkas in Europe, and that was my last job as a marketeer, and then I moved on to my first job as a non-marketeer, which was Brown Forman offered me the opportunity to become the general manager for the Polish business. And I think that step was probably the most difficult couple of years of my career. I think when I left Poland, I told the team, in Poland, I lived the best and the worst of my professional life. And I say probably the worst because it was really a very stressful moment. And at times I wondered whether I was going to be able to make it. I wondered if I had the skill, the tenacity, the capacity to deal with all the problems that were coming at me. And I say the best because once I crossed that phase, I have had probably one of the most interesting and rewarding moments of my career, which was working with my leadership team in Poland, seeing the market grow, seeing the company growing in terms of revenue, but also number of employees, and seeing also the people growing and moving on to new jobs within Poland, outside Poland. We've exported a lot of talent from the Polish business in the last few years. I think the biggest component of that change was moving myself from a kind of project management, fast track delivery mindset. I was very focused on getting things done and controlling everything and influencing people to get things done, to really thinking about the team and how I could, as a leader, empower the team to get the best out of them and to make sure they were, satisfied and empowered and feel motivated to do their jobs the best they could. I think that was the biggest change. That was coupled with a significant crisis in the spirits market in Poland, which didn't help at all. But I think that really the biggest shift was that one, from the mindset shift from knowing all details, getting to everything, controlling the output, to really focusing on trusting the team first of all, and focusing on being the person that could enable them to do the best and remove the roadblocks rather than actually knowing all details. I could never know all details. And when I realized that, then I moved on, and I think we started growing the team and the business.
Thanks for your sharing, Ricardo. Actually, changing your mindset and based on that, maybe controlling how you dealing things in a different way, maybe let go of some of the old habit and do things in a new way, can be really a good way to tackle with the challenges. And many times, actually, I found unlearn can be more difficult than learning new things. And but once we are able to get there, and it feels like opening a new door for us. So that allowing us to be more flexible, be more dynamic with dealing with a difficult situation. So really thankful for sharing that. So I wonder, have you had anyone or any mentor in your career journey during, some challenging time, or anyone that you feel like you learned a lot from them and they have been impacted a lot for your career journey?
Thank you, Dreamy. Yes, I've had mentors. I am a bit peculiar in this case because I think that the best mentorships come from naturally formed bonds. So people that you meet in your career, with people with you connect in a natural way, and then you can actually develop a professional relationship, even if they're not your bosses. But they can somehow help you informally navigating your career and help you in difficult moments. No, I've had, of course, in that transition period, Brown Forman has supported me, and I've had support from an external coach that helped me with that transference. And I think that the most important thing I've learned in that period was the self-awareness of what we are and what others perceive us to be. What I mean by that is that sometimes we do things with a certain intention and a certain motivation behind. And at the end of the day, things are perceived completely different on the other side. Being open to understand that, I think, was the biggest learning I had from, let's say, an external mentor, which was the coach that helped me in that transition. I think that was the biggest kind of aha moment in my career. And then from that, suddenly became a lot easier because I became aware of the issues I potentially had. I became aware that people not always understood what I was trying to say or understood it differently. And so I brought things into my life in terms of, checking in, making sure people are getting what I'm trying to say, some practices that you can actually enable. But I found it over the years. I wouldn't say I had like one mentor that changed my life. I had a lot of people along my career that have helped me in different moments and different times. I think nurturing and developing those relationships is very important. So I encourage all of you to start from very early on in career, developing those touch points and really keep them, nurture them, invest in them. Because one day, today I still go back to people I've met in my career in Portugal or in Spain and speak to them regularly and talk about issues I'm facing today. And they help me. They give me an external perspective, which I think is sometimes the most added value of a mentorship or somebody that can help you from the outside. They are distant from the problems. They can distinguish the forest from the trees, and they can help you getting that broader perspective that sometimes is needed. We are very often so embroiled in the problems that we are not able to see the bigger picture. So if I can advise, just nurture those kind of relationships if you find them along your way and invest in them. They are very, very helpful.
Definitely. I feel like it's also very hard if I want to just pick one mentor. So many people has been impacting my journey as well in many different positive way. So, but one big takeaway is, ensure we have a good network with someone that we can trust, that we can seek advice, can be very important to continue developing our career journey. So I guess, all of us may, especially myself, we all have a moment that we may feel a little bit stuck or stagnant in our career journey, that in a way we feel a little bit less motivated. So I wonder if you have that moment in your career journey, and how do you find your inspiration to keep yourself engaged and motivated?
Yeah, I've had that many times. I've had it very frequently, actually. So I think everybody has it. There's always things that push us down and force us to stop and think and what am I doing here and what's the next thing. There are various solutions. Sometimes if it's something small, just going for a run or for a ride, it helps a lot. Just fresh air, get your head out there, think about something differently, and then come back to the problem later. For more complex problems, I think I'll get back to the point of networking and having a group of people that can help you and support you around you. That can really enable you to unblock these kind of situations. And so if you're feeling lost in translation, or you don't know what to do, or you're facing a very big difficulty decision at work, speaking to those who you can trust that are outsiders and that are not involved in the problem can really give you a different perspective and help you. And that's what I do most often. But again, for small problems, try go for a run, get some fresh air. That many times that helps a lot. So.
Thank you, Ricardo. I think they're both really, really good points, especially over the past year or so. We've probably gotten very used to being locked down, quote unquote, but we can actually get out and go to somewhere without people and go for runs or something. And and also definitely to your point of speaking to someone we can trust is super important. I guess that kind of leads me on to my next question, which is a little bit more Asia YP specific, especially when that relates to potentially that feeling of loss of direction. Is the key role of YP Asia really is the networking opportunity. So what kind of approach would you just suggest for our colleagues in different countries, in different maybe even time zones, to look for more networking opportunities to grow their career?
Yeah, definitely. I think that networking is very, very important, as I mentioned earlier. And I think that networking is important equally inside Brown-Forman and outside Brown-Forman. I'll start with the inside piece, where I think all of you can network, of course, with your peers, with your colleagues in market, in the region first. That's always the easiest piece. But I think you can also find connection points with people that have similar jobs to yours in other parts of the world, and you can always reach out to them, and you'll be surprised how eager people are to sharing their experiences, their know-how, their capabilities, and say, hey, how do you do this thing in your market? Sometimes you can find points of connection on either a process or similarity, that you're working on a dark market where advertising is not allowed, or working on an open market where advertising is allowed, or you're a key account for a certain customer, which happens to be represented in different countries, and you can reach out for the key account in that other country and speak to them. How does your customer behave with you? So if you search hard, you find connection points, I think, even outside Asia region, I believe, yeah. And I'd encourage you to do that. And of course, also take all these opportunities once things get back to normal and we have visitors back in the region. These are great opportunities to connect to people from outside the region and establish a network. Outside Brown-Forman, I think that things like professional associations, young professional associations, groups that are forming in either LinkedIn or other social platforms, where you can use them as a soundboard and help you just to gain ideas and insights into how things are done in other companies, for example. I think we value a lot of that. I mean, sometimes we bring people from other companies to BF to bring new capabilities and new know-how and help us to grow the business and grow further the agenda of capabilities in Brown-Forman. So I would encourage both. Sometimes it doesn't come natural, some of us. It's very hard for me to network. It's very hard for me to go talk to somebody without a professional motive, but I push myself out there and I try to do that, and I find it extremely rewarding.
Thank you, Ricardo. And I think you spoke to a lot of the potential difficulties that young professionals can feel when networking is really taking up that courage. So maybe looking on the potentially easier side is internally within Brown-Forman. So in a global company like Brown-Forman, where we have sort of many different regions, different countries, what's the best way to really get exposure in such a big company? Whether it's between countries, between different regions, different divisions, and how would you really advise an individual to really raise their profiling exposure globally?
Okay, you're gonna probably hate me out for this, but the best way it's to do a great job in the right way. So I think Brown-Forman is a company that rewards good performance, and I think we will see more and more of that also coming to Asia in terms of really rewarding those who work hard and do the best job for the company, but also do it in the right way, in adherence to Brown-Forman values, which I think is equally important as to do a good job, is to do it in line with the values and the behaviors that the company promotes and encourages. And so I think that's the best way, because eventually you'll get noticed. Now, obviously, there are more things that you can do, of course, and I mentioned a few earlier before. I think that really trying hard to network beyond your direct line of management. So try to reach out to colleagues that are in the same jobs, in the same functions in other regions, in other countries. Try to reach out, through these platforms. So Young Professionals, I think, is a great group where you can connect with the other young professionals across the world, figure out what they're doing, figure out how they are doing, how they are facing probably similar issues or different issues. But I encourage you definitely to go beyond your direct line of management and kind of build a network that's broader than that. I think that's very, very helpful in Brown Forman also.
Cool. Thank you, Ricardo. So yes, very good tips. Simple. Do a great job and do it in the right way. So very easy to remember. Everyone got the tips. I think from an Asia culture perspective, sometimes we do, we naturally feel a little bit uncomfortable when we are in the spotlight. To show everyone like, oh, this is the job that I've done. This is something that I did for the company. So, but I think what you just mentioned is like somehow we needed to be a bit comfortable with uncomfortable moment, which is kind of allowing us to earn some new skills, to enable us to grow faster than what we are planning to. So I think like a networking can be a very, very important skill that we can further, just push ourselves a little bit, utilize this YP platform to learn and improving our skills and do better and getting more exposure, hopefully. So Ricardo, like as a young professional, there are many little moments that we have self-doubt. We like me, in the past, until now, sometimes I still feel like, oh, my English is not good enough. I'm not capable for this. I don't think I'm progressing enough as how I wanted. I wonder if you have ever had a self-doubt moment, and especially when you are in the young professional stage, and how do you handle that? Any tips for us?
I still have many self-doubt moments, trust me. Look, I'm an introvert. Okay, you will get to know me better over the years as I spend a bit more time in Asia, and also you get to meet each other face to face. But for introverts, it's not easy to get out there and talk about yourself. It's not easy to get out there and say, "Hey, I've done this great job. Look at this. Huh? Oh, you like it?" It's just not. It's just not a thing that comes naturally. Some people are great at it. I'm particularly not good at it. I suck at it. So there's that. So naturally, a lot of self-doubt comes in. I think that there are a couple of things that you can do, and I think there's different maybe situations. One is if you're asking me, how do I go and talk to others about my job and what am I doing and showcase what am I doing? I try to find ways to do it in a natural way. I try to find occasions that are natural and where I can bring up things that I've done or that my team has done and kind of talk to them. It's hard, for example, for me to go to some of the Louisville folks and say, "Hey, look how great Asia is doing and all the great things we are doing." It just feels unnatural and artificial, but I try to find angles to speak. This person I can talk about maybe what we're doing with Jack Daniels, or maybe I can talk about what we're doing with our people and our organization. And so I find always kind of a more professional angle to get into it. And then once I get in, I kind of open up and can talk more freely about the other good things we're doing in the region. Yeah. So that's a tip, I think, to try to find a natural angle to get to it. If you're asking me about self-doubt in the sense, at some point in your career or when you're being faced an opportunity to grow or to take a new challenge or a new job and you think, oh my God, am I good enough for this? Do I have the right skills? Do I have the right capacity? My recommendation is to take a pause, take a deep breath, and make a rational analysis. Put yourself in a position that, do I really have the skills? What is really needed for this job? What do I really know? If I don't know everything, what I need to learn. So try to identify the gaps that you need to fulfill to be successful. In my perspective, that's many times gets us off the way there, or more than off the way there. If you get into a new job, conscious that, okay, this is a challenge for me, and here are the 3 things I need to fix in order to be successful at this job, most likely you're going to be successful at that job. if you don't make that pause and that reflection, and you go in, yeah, I'm going to make it, and you just believe you're going to make it, then most likely you're going to fail because you didn't take the time to understand what your things, what were your strengths to take the job, and what were your weaknesses to take the job, and how can you bridge them and gap them. So if you have self-doubt, I think that kind of probably is the best. In career progression, I think that is kind of the best way. I can tell you this. I have rejected jobs because I felt I was not ready to take them. As a matter of fact, the first time an headhunter contacted me to come to work for Brown Forman was not for the job I took 2 months later. And I said, I love the opportunity. I think it's a great company. I would love to work for this company, but I am not ready to take this particular job. So come back to me if you have something else that would be more to my level. And the headhunter came back 2 months later and offered me a different job in Europe. And then I took it. But I think that having that self-awareness of what you're able and not able to do and what are your limitations, I think is really important to make sure that you continue to progress, but you progress on a sustainable way and you don't make jumps that are too big for you and then eventually you fail. So I think really this pause and reflection and maybe consult with some of your peers or people that you trust and kind of bounce back what you feel uncomfortable about. And just get really that confidence that you know what you're getting into and you know what you're missing to be successful, and then you'll get there.
That's a nice one. Like really considering the self-doubt, not only on the negative way, but also actually the self-doubt can, if we take in a positive way, it can help us in a way as well. So that's a very interesting angle to see the self-doubt, and also the advice that you provide is I think is really helpful as well. So since you have also mentioned about the the career path, like when you are applying a job and you are not you are then getting another one. So I wonder, did you actually plan your career path? If you have any advice, how as a young professional Asian member, they can better plan their career path in Brown Forman?
It's a funny question. No, I did not plan my career path. I've had moments in my life where I knew I wanted to go the next 2 or 3 years, but I didn't plan the long-term career path. Look, when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a gardener. Then I started studying and I picked up an interest in electronics, and I went on to high school to do a technical course on electronics. I'm actually a electronics technician. And then I went to university and I decided to study communications and marketing, and I ended up with audiovisual training at the end of the course. And I went on to work as a graphic designer. And then I moved on to marketing, and then I spent many years in marketing, doing local marketing, global marketing, and then I eventually took the chance to become a general manager. So that's not by design by any means, that career path. I've done a bit of everything, and I think that what drove my career path was curiosity and desire to continue to grow and stretch myself. So whenever I felt too comfortable or too easy at my job, I kind of felt I had to move. Sometimes it happened that I was able to move and progress within the company I was in. Sometimes it happened that I had to get out and move to a different company because the company I was in at the time didn't provide me the career opportunity. Now, I've been very lucky with Brown Forman, where I found a company that has been providing me for the last 10 years of continuous growth and development. I think that's been amazing. I think that at the pace the company is growing and expanding, all of us, all of you, will for sure have opportunities to continue to grow our careers in Brown Forman. So I hope for that, at least for all of you. But definitely, I would say the most important thing in terms of career path is to have some sort of a mid-term challenge. Keep your eye on the long-term horizons. Have a notion of the things you want to do. Have a notion of things that make you happy at work, that don't make you happy at work. And then be open to the world, and the world gives back to you usually. If you are open and you kind of know what your interests are, things will come to you at the right time, and then you just need to be open to take them. Don't be too scared. Don't be, the self-doubt thing we spoke earlier. You might think that you're not ready for that job, but really assess if you are ready, and if you're not, what do you need to do to get that job. And so just be open for new career paths. Also be open for lateral moves, and particularly something I would encourage everybody at a younger stage of the career: move sideways as much as you can. Don't focus just on the linear vertical progression. because that will take you to a place where you're going to be a high-level paid expert in something. And I think on the world that's coming to us in the future, that's not the best skill. I think adaptability, flexibility are things that the world is demanding from us. And so if you can try different things in different areas of your career, of your early stage of your career, do marketing, do sales, go and do different trade marketing, do different things in your early stages, and then you'll be a lot more ready to take bigger jobs and bigger responsibilities in the future because you have a broader picture of what's around you.
Thank you, Ricardo. I think those are really great points and really great advice for especially young professionals, because sometimes we are, too scared, or just again that self-doubt thing keeps creeping back to us. But it's really important to remain open and sort of, unless you try, you don't really know sometimes. So that's really very important. It's on a related note from that point, my next question is probably focusing more on any plans from Brown-Forman or from you on our next generation of leaders in Asia. What are there any specific things that you're looking for in the next generation of leaders, and do you have any plans to grow those talents or attributes?
Yes, I mean, I can't be very specific. I'm 6 months in the job, and we are a new team forming and trying to identify what this notion of one Asia together really means for the company. From these, in my initial impressions, that I think it's this idea of getting Asia all together, I think was a great idea. I see a lot of potential for synergies on business models, on the way we run the region. But I also see, and more importantly, see a lot of opportunities for synergies on people and talent. There is a lot of commonalities across these countries. Language is not one of them, but what I'm learning is that many of you speak multiple languages, and I think that we're going to be looking for definitely talents that are capable in this area and that are mobile, that are ready to take new challenges. And I think we will be. I don't want to promise something that I'm not fully ready to commit to, but my intention is definitely to develop programs that can accelerate young professionals in the region, that we can pick those that have highest talent and highest potential and really accelerate their path, accelerate their growth, give them opportunities, and give them potential to grow faster in a region that will need a lot of talent in the years to come. If we are to really make a difference in Asia and grow the way I want us to grow, we'll need a lot more people on board. So I think there are going to be opportunities. And I think that for us as a leadership team for Asia, we have that intention. I think it's a little bit early stages to commit to specifics of a program or anything, but it's on our agenda, also as part of the DNA agenda, to really pick up the next generation and kind of try to accelerate development plans for them.
And how about coming back to the Asia YP? If there is one thing that we should really focus on as the next step, really quickly, what's your recommendation, and how would we sort of do that?
I think for young professionals, I think you can help Brown-Forman a lot, actually. I think you have a role in this organization. I would say the biggest one and the most obvious one is to help Brown-Forman to bridge to the era of digitalization. I think the company has been made a lot of investment in systems and technology. I think our move a few years back to the Google platform was taken with a lot of shock by many employees across the company. And I know that for the youngsters, it's a lot easier. I mean, again, I don't consider myself an old person. And I like to think I'm tech savvy, but I think not all of us work the same way. And I think that helping the company to make that bridge and really take us to the next generation, kind of next era of digitalization in the company, I think is something where the young professionals can help dramatically. And not only internally in the systems and process, but also looking at e-commerce growth, looking at the way we talk to our consumers through different new media. I think you guys have an incredible role to play on that because you're digital born and you're native to that language, which many of us are trying to catch up with it and try to learn it. I think that's the one thing that you can actually contribute on the short term.
Cool, definitely one topic add on our agenda for the next call. So I mean, digitalization is now a way of life, and there are so many opportunity out there. In fact, Rob Capital is one of our YP committee member. So he is leading so many great digital e-commerce projects for Southeast Asia, and I believe having him in as one of the YP committee member, he could definitely help us, a wider YP member, to get more insight on how we can improve on this specific topic. So so far you have already shared with us a lot on your professional journey and tips, advice. It has been really great. And now I'm really curious, like, how would you define your personal success? Has your definition been changing over the time?
Well, the easy answer is yes, it does change over the time. I think from a professional perspective, I think success in life I define by being happy with my family. That's a simple one, and that doesn't change. I mean, it has changed a little bit because I didn't have my own family a few years back, and now I have. But I think that that doesn't change. It's a bit more stable. I think professionally it has evolved, and I think it has evolved from at the earlier stage of my career, I definitely was very focused on achievements and accomplishments and getting stuff done and having things to be proud of. Look, I've done that. Look back and look at the stuff that I've built. I think over the years, and as particularly moved to general management and people management, my pride and my success, I think, comes really from the people I developed and I leave behind me. So when I left Poland, I felt proud of the organization I left behind. The day I will leave Asia behind, at some point, I will want to leave an organization that has grown under my leadership. And so and that is the thing that has kind of now defined as success for me professionally. It's to really observe and help teams to grow and develop over the years. So I would say that, yeah, it has changed a lot.
Cool. Okay, so moving to the last question. The newly launched Make It Count campaign is really fantastic, and I really like the idea that do what you always wanted to do, and make every moment counted. So could you share with us, like, anything you feel like you always wanted to do, and it can be personal, it can be professional?
Yeah, I think I'm living the dream right now. The reason I say that is I always wanted to live in Asia for a long time, for many years. I was both myself, my wife, for many years we spoke about that. We have a passion for Asia, Asian culture, Asian food, and we wanted to come here and discover things and learn about these the countries and the history of the countries. And I've learned so much just over the last year. I mean, one thing I've learned is that I think in the West we have we grew up with a very skewed view of the world, right? We are taught things in history from a Western perspective, so we learned the World War II from the European perspective, and we never really talk about things that happen in Asia at that period of time. And so coming here and having the ability to learn those things and experience the culture in firsthand, that was one of my big dreams in life, to be honest. So I'll put that up there, but I'm kind of living the dream right now. So I need to find one more thing I want to do in my life after this. So.
That's really cool. You have been mentioning a lot about Asia. You're passionate about Asia. So what do you see? I just like some other question pop up, like, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for Brown-Forman Asia from your point of view?
I think there are many. If you ask me what I see in Asia, what attracts me to Asia, I think that the richness, deepness, and variety of culture is the thing that brought me here, I think, from a curiosity perspective. If I think from a business perspective, I believe we are entering the century of Asia. We're just kind of 2 decades in, but I think this century is definitely the century of Asia. There's a number of things that are putting Asia at the center of the world right now, from a population perspective, dynamics of the population, to just sheer amount of young people, millennial generation or Generation Z coming into the workforce at this moment in Asia. The dramatic increase on amount of middle class households, increasing purchasing power, the very, I think, advanced and elevated quality of the workforce in Asia over the last, particularly with the advancements over the last few decades. I think all of that puts Asia in a great place for the world, and I think also in a great place for Brown-Forman. We have a lot of room to grow today in Asia. We have a market share that shares around kind of below 2% across most of the markets we are present at. And only that is already a huge room to grow. If you were to grow to what's our average in developed markets of 8-10% share, our business unit would quadruple in terms of revenue. So think about that. And then the growth that's ahead of us in terms of premium and super premium whiskey, American whiskey, ready to drink categories. All of those categories are booming and developing very fast across Asia. I know the current situation doesn't probably feel that way. COVID has taken a hard hit in many countries across Asia, but I think we need to keep the eyes on the long horizon. The crisis is about to pass, and I think Asia is in the best place to be one of the fastest regions in the world to recover from that crisis. And so, yeah, I think that's what I see for Brown-Forman, a sea of opportunities, to be honest.
Thank you, Ricardo. That's a really positive and inspiring note to sort of wrap up the official questions that we've had for you. For the final question, I think we would have remembered that Dream Meet at the beginning of the session we had discussed a surprise gift for the person who answered the correct question from the video. So I hope everyone is ready, because the first one to answer correctly my question about Riccardo's fast and curious questions would get a surprise gift. So after go, the first one to answer would get a surprise gift. The question is, what is Ricardo's preferred tool? Google Slides or PowerPoint? Okay, let me repeat that. Google Slides or PowerPoint? Wait. Three, not the one who started before I started. It does not get it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now I cannot tell. I can only find the first one. It's a lot of answering. So the lucky one who wins the gift is, let me see. It's still moving. Everyone wants to have this gift. So it's Yiming. Congratulations.
Yay.
So your gift will be
actually. Well, what's his name? What Anthony said that I overstarted. I started before the pistol went off, so I'll give it to whoever's next on that one.
So that's okay. If you are generous, we can pick the next one. Is Godfrey. Congratulations. Yeah, I think he is also a member of yeah. So the gift you will get is the one of the favorite book from Ricardo, The Crucial Conversation. So maybe Ricardo, you can give us share with us why you picked this book. What do you think this is really a nice book to share with them?
Yeah, I think it's just to clarify, it's not one of my favorite books. I think that, like many things in life, food or music or books, there's no favorites, right? I like diversity, and so picking a favorite among these things is very hard. But I thought it was an important book to share with all of you. I think as you progress in your careers, you'll find that having the right conversations with the right people at the right time, it's really important. And so I would encourage you all to read this book if you can. Because it will help you to understand perspective in conversations. And I think that it's particularly relevant in the Asian environment, Asian cultural environment. I'm trying to learn a little bit the culture and try to understand the nuances. But one thing I picked is that Asia overall is quite hierarchical. And so it might feel sometimes a bit challenging or frightening to go and speak to your boss about something you don't feel comfortable about, or something you don't feel that's right or should be done in a different way. This book might help you just to put things in perspective and making difficult conversations not personal, but very professional. I think it's a great, Brown-Forman has done this training across many parts of the world on cultural conversations. I found an amazing training. But if you cannot attend the training, then at least read the book, because I think it will help you a lot in your career.
Cool. Thank you so much. I believe many people would love to win this book. Like we already announced who is the winner, but the answer is still going on. So don't worry. I think, stay with YP. We will have a more event coming up. We will have more surprising gift from our side. So I guess our section also coming to the end. And I personally, I feel like this has been a super fun, inspiring experience. I get to know Ricardo you a lot more. And also there are a lot of takeaway I have already put on my notes. I believe all the members here are also getting, the same feeling. And again, really thankful for being so open, for sharing your experience with us. So Anthony, Ricardo, do you have any more things to add on?
I mean, if there's anyone that has any questions right now live, whether you want to write them or speak to them, please do. I would like to say I'm an open book. So, if not, you can always reach out to me after this, and anytime you want. My door is always open, and so please do that. Reach out if you need.
Thank you, Ricardo. I just wanted to thank you again. Everything Jimmy has said, and I thank you everyone for participating. And thank you for the excitement to answer the question. Sorry, you had jump started, so we'll consider giving you a 安慰奖.
Miniature Jack Daniels will work perfectly fine. Or I can do the Kingsman. Anyone gets me a Kingsman, I'll take that too.
Dreamy, that's on you.
Well,
thank you.
I will ask Michael Go to do it for sure. So really thankful everyone to join and be so engaging with this event. It's a first one, but more to come. And we will hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dreamy. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great
Thank
session.
you. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ricardo.